Hi, Mama. I'm back. Mitch Blackford here with Fun Rich Mom. It's Come As You Are Day, and I have a first for Come As You Are. So, my guest today is my friend that I have known since, since I was probably 20. So, we're talking over 2 decades here. And we haven't seen each other in quite some years. So it was really cool because this is like a great catch up conversation. Her name is Trisha Eastman. She is a mom who's married. She has a beautiful 11-year-old daughter. And we're just peeking behind the curtains. But why it's a first is because we went ahead and had her husband come on the show as well. So his name is Chris, and we're getting the side-by-side comparison of what it's like living their life. And I thought it might be a little bit of fun because, it's great to hear your day and what might be going on and being able to relate. It's also fun to get that guy's perspective of like, okay, well, what are you thinking? What's your most stressful part of the day? What's your best part of the day? And so we had a great time, and I am excited for you to get to know them. So with that, let's get started. So we have Trisha and Chris here. This is our first Come As You Are with both husband and wife. So this is really exciting because we get to hear both mom and dad perspective, husband and wife perspective. And Trisha, this is going to be so good to catch up with both of you guys, you and Chris, because it's been some years since we've really had a chance to talk to each other. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about the two of you guys? Like, how long have you been together, your kids' situation, so they get a picture of who you guys are and what's going on in your household?
Okay. Obviously you said I'm Trisha and this is Chris. We met when I was a freshman and he was a sophomore in high school. And we were friends for about 14 years or so. So I think we calculated we've known each other for roughly 32 years. And we just celebrated our 17th anniversary. So
Woohoo!
And then Lucy is 11 and she's in 6th grade.
Very cool. And then what is it that you guys both do?
I'm a physical therapist at UC Davis, which is one of our largest hospitals here in Sacramento.
Cool.
And I teach software for a company based out of Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, wow. So that's a big leap across the country where you're working. Very cool. So let's dig into what an average day is like, or it's kind of hard to just say an average day, but I would say more like an average week. What does your week usually entail? Who's getting up when? Who's taking care of Lucy? Is she, what's her school schedule like? What is that like rolling in your house with you guys?
You definitely have two very different perspectives on this one. I have to leave the house pretty early in the morning. And so my morning, not so much involved like getting her ready for school and stuff, but I'm either cuddling in her bed with her. So I have to make sure carving time for that. Or also sometimes she'll wake up and then we'll get some time together on the couch together, just spending that nice quality time. I work about 8-hour days or so at UC Davis. And then after I get off work, we actually all do activities. We do martial arts together as a family. And so
what martial arts do you guys do?
It's a blended Kempo through Kobars.
Nice.
So Chris and I are in the same class, and then Lucy's in the junior class. And so I'm usually like running to the dojo, making sure we have the gear. If not, I'm calling him and say, hey, can you bring all the stuff? And then some days we're also balancing soccer practice. So there's something every single day of the week.
Yeah, that keeps you busy for sure. Wow. I love that you guys are all doing that together as a family. How much fun. How long have you guys been doing that for?
Lucy started in November of this last year, so 9 months. And then I started in January and he started in February.
Okay. Was it just
so recent?
So our girls do jujitsu, and it was one of those things. I don't know if you guys are like us and how your gym is, but We're the parents that don't shut up. Andrew, watch it. He's really familiar with the sport, so he knows the moves and everything like that. And usually I can just pick up things pretty quickly when I'm watching. So we'd always be like, okay, do this, because the coach is going around to so many kids. And so we just kind of be working with her. And then when she's rolling, which is their, fighting, they roll. We'd be like, do this, make this move, do this move. And then finally it got to the point where I just started. And I had to stop for some medical reasons, but it was so much fun because it was like, okay, I'm tired of just yelling at her. I'm going to go and do this too. Did that happen to you guys?
That's amazing. Yeah, we had life was happening. And so that's why we were a little bit behind her in starting up. But yeah, we decided that it looked really fun and it's been amazing.
That's the real reason I started. See, when your wife and your daughter both learn new ways to beat you up, it's much easier to defend yourself when you know how to do that. Because if I make them angry, they can already beat me up anyway. Now they can just do it with style. So
there you go.
I had to get in there.
So you're a smart man, is what you're saying.
I have my moments.
There you go. Moments of brilliance. So what's your day like?
So I'm effectively the stay-at-home parent. Even though I'm working. So my day actually starts at 5 a.m. because of my East Coast clients. So I'm up. Oh, yeah. I get up before her, get her up in the morning, and then she has her time with mom. Lucy has her time with mom. And then Lucy and I hang out until she's got to go to school. Now, in the last couple of years, it's been a lot more. She can kind of do stuff on her own, get herself out the door. Usually it's dad come open the garage door and close it for me while I walk to school because we live that close.
Oh, wow.
And then, depending upon the time of year or Lucy's mood or the weather, for example, because she can walk to school, because it's still so hot in the afternoon, I will bring the car and park and then walk into the school and get her. But that way she doesn't have to go all the way home in the very hot heat. And then
the fragile flower.
What a dad. What a dad.
Well, and then we come home, and then depending on what her homework situation is, we work on the homework. And then we're running to the dojo, running to soccer practice. So like in soccer practice nights, since she gets off later, I take Lucy to soccer. And then we might also go to the dojo. It really just depends. But the majority of her time overall is spent with me, just because Trish works outside the home.
Sure. And then during her school hours, since you're working earlier, I would imagine you finish a little earlier as well. So by the time she's done, you're pretty much done.
Oh, I'm off at 1:00 in the afternoon, so
that's nice.
Take that time to do stuff around the house. It's nice here because if we have to have stuff done at the house, we can make all the appointments and have everybody show up and be here. So
that schedule works out really well for the both of you. So then, Trisha, usually what time are you leaving to work at and getting home?
Just before 7 is when I leave in the morning. Commute, lovely rush hour, and then if I come
rush hour.
He's such a
Be quiet, Chris. No one wants to hear that. That has to drive to work. I feel you, though. I work from home, too.
Yeah. I work at a job that I can't, so,
Yeah, you got it. You can't physically manipulate people on Zoom.
Yeah, right. Not very easily.
There you go.
Dolls, I don't know. But yeah, I usually get home at 4:45 or so if I go straight home because it's just crazy to try to get here directly. That's why we go directly to whatever activity and have 2 cars.
Yeah. So, man, busy schedules, busy days. Are your weekends just as packed?
I would say most of the time. We're in a season where we actually just started letting her do 2 sports at the same time. And so it's been an interesting season for the both of us as well. He's not as thrilled. I was the sporty kid, so I'm used to being that busy. So currently we're doing, as you heard, soccer and martial arts. So we're literally balancing days. And so we have soccer for usually a couple hours on Saturday, and then whatever social engagement she's wanting to do or house project, things like that. And then in the summertime, it was quite more crazy because we had swim meets. And so the swim meets are the majority of the day, probably ending at like 2 or 3, depending on the location. So that was making our weekends a little more challenging through the summer, and then balancing weekends.
For sure.
And things, so.
Okay, so here's the question. How do you guys make time for each other?
super blessed to have my parents in town and a super social kid. So she constantly asks for sleepovers everywhere.
Oh, nice. Yes, go too.
Yes, and my parents actually thank us for giving them our child.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so summer times when she's not doing like sports or martial arts, she's spending the night at their house. She'll have sleepovers. She's actually going tonight for a birthday sleepover at a friend's house. And so we just take opportunities like that to have date nights, or we try to carve at least, 15 minutes in the morning or 15 minutes in the evening just to kind of for check-ins as well. But yeah, we purposely try to make date nights and plan ahead because we are so busy.
Yeah.
You still want to hang out with me. That alone makes me happy. I mean, I know,
17 years.
Try to keep it simple,
Wait, hold on. 32 years, right? That you've known each other? Yeah, 32, 17 together. So yeah, that's pretty cool that you guys are still into each other. Any secrets to share? Why do you think it is that you guys still want to spend so much time together?
You want to start?
Honestly, as cliched as this sounds, they say marry your best friend. Well, guess what? I did. And so my best time is with the person that I can be the most relaxed and be myself with, which is my wife, which I don't know how many couples are blessed to have that. But for me, it's just, this is the person I want to be around. And we definitely have our separate lives and the things that we do outside of our marriage, but we've always just enjoyed hanging out with each other. And so it's still a major part of what helps me be me.
Nice.
For me, he also allows me to do girls' trips or gives me time to, do art or just toodle, so we definitely have our times apart, which makes more of that time together special too.
That's awesome. So you bring up a really good point, Trisha, and that's something that I think I run across a lot of moms, that they don't take time to just doodle or do the passions that they have or take the girls' trips. I joke around, my friends and I talking about schedules. We were trying to plan a girls' trip, and between the three of our schedules, this was back in, I think, June, we're like, we can't do a trip until next year because, it's just, people have chaotic schedules. You have kids sports, you have, okay, who's going to take care of the kids while we're gone, all that stuff. So that's awesome that you get that time. How would you say that, or why do you think it is that you were able to be that person that said, no, I'm taking my time, I'm doing the things that I want, versus getting stuck in that, I'm just busy, we've got 3 different sports going on, we've got work, I've got commute, and things usually just kind of get thrown on you, you know what I mean, as you go through your day. And I'm sure this happens to you, Chris, too. And we just have a tendency to take it on, and at the end of the day, we're like, oh my gosh, I've done so much, when a lot of the times we don't have to do as much and we forget to take that time. So what would you say is your mindset? Why would you be that person that's actually taking that time versus someone else that forgets to take care of themselves?
So you've actually just described my life. I'm just constantly busy, but I'm also one that doesn't like to sit a whole lot. Like, I'm good for about a movie and then I'm done and then I need to get moving. So I've also sacrificed some sleep too, to give myself time in the morning to give me that morning workout, walking my dog before we had, joined the dojo. But I was also kind of forced into it a little bit because I was actually having chronic headaches for a while. And so
not because of me,
only a little bit. But I was needing to stop and do like monthly, like even if it's just a 1-hour massage, or trying to find time with acupuncture and things like that. So it was forcing me to stop and take time. But for us, like, I can't do everything with one person no matter what, right? It just, it's too much. So, and again, since he's known me so long, he knows that I need my space. He needs his time. Like, he'll go in and, play video games, or he used to noodle on a guitar, just play with music and stuff. So, but we've always been really good with that balance, of just taking, even if it's, half an hour.
That's awesome. I do. I tell her to scram, and there's times, because I know my wife so well, that when she is doing too much, I will just say, you're stopping and you're going and doing this. It's one of the rare moments she actually listens to me. So
that's That's usually about like breaking point where you're like, okay, you need to stop, go take, go get some ice cream or something.
Yeah. Wait, what? Ice cream? Okay. You don't have to tell me twice.
Right.
So, Chris, what do you usually see? What is the sign that she gives off that maybe she's not aware of, where you're like, oh, we're about to get there. The fan is about to get really dirty. You know what I'm saying?
So I think it's more of it's not really a sign. It's more of a vibe, because there's it even starts with the way she wakes up in the morning and how she's feeling after she gets up. And is it getting up on a weekday and how she's feeling versus a weekend? Her interaction with me. It's like anyone else. You're to the point of being just fried, and you find yourself, she'll react to something that is completely out of her character. And I think we all do that. And so whether it's with me, whether it's with Lucy, whether it's with someone else, and it's like, okay. Or the other thing too, and again, just because we've been in each other's lives so long, I kind of do a mental checklist in my head as time has gone on. What has she done for herself lately? Where has she done these things? Has she done her passions that help her
reset?
And if she hasn't, then she needs to go and do. And I'm also lucky enough, I'm very close to my daughter. Surprisingly, I didn't think I would do the whole fatherhood thing all that well, and for some reason, my kid really likes me. So it's come on, Lucy, Mama needs this time. Let's get out. Either get her out of the house or we get out of the house, and it gives me time to spend with Lucy, and then she gets the reset that she needs.
And Lucy actually requests date nights with him as well.
Oh, that's sweet. And I think that's so important too, especially for little girls to have that relationship with their dad where they just, they understand that they have that bond, that a man can be nurturing, that he can, really pour into her. I think that's huge. So, Trisha, let's flip the question. What happens when you see Chris getting frazzled? How does that usually go?
Oddly enough, for the most part, if I'm starting to kind of lose my stuff, he's the balanced one, and vice versa. Like, he starts to get all frazzled, and then I'm kind of the calm one. So not quite sure how that's worked out on the whole so far, but it's been great. His is more of like he's stressed out with work, or like certain things are bugging him, in life, whether it's, family, work, challenging, because he has coordination issues with like the dojo and things like that. So it's like, just take a deep breath, go do something else for a little bit, or just like with Lucy, I'm like, walk away. I've got this. Go for a walk, go outside, go to one of our, buy, sell, trade stores that he likes to go to, like go and check that out, just walk away. Or, whatever it is, or, go work out, go hit something, go hit some weights or something. So, and that usually helps him reset. But also sometimes, if it goes too long in between with us even having a date night, sometimes that like it gets irritating and he isn't necessarily able to express that, or either both of us. And we're like, you know what, we haven't had date night in a while. So, even if we have Lucy have a play date down the street, or, with somebody for a couple hours, and we'll go have dinner, so.
Yeah. So what would you say, getting back into parent dynamic, what would be the most stressful or hardest part of parenting for you guys?
That's an interesting question, just because of the perspective we have with Lucy and how Lucy interacts with the two of us. So I guess from my side, because I spend the majority of the time with her, let's use COVID. That first year where she basically was locked in the house with me for months and months and months and months and months. And so when there's those stressful times with her, it can be things like screen time. She just got a phone in the beginning of the summer because we went to Florida for a couple of weeks. It can be all the little nitpicky things that, as I like to say, the things I'm apologizing to my mother for that I put her through when I was that age. And now I'm experiencing it myself. And all my mother does is laugh at me, which she should. So it is those little things. But at the same time, there's the upsides where, like, we have a pool and she'll go, Daddy, come swim with me. So we get the pool together. So it really depends on the day, but it is the challenge part, because you're trying to give them their space to learn, but also know, boy, if I keep letting this go this way, and at what point do you go, okay, you're just going to have to learn the hard way. That this, not that you're going to let them get themselves hurt, but you get the idea.
Sure, yeah.
They're gonna. You want them to fail. They need to fail, and then you just hopefully are there to be there when they do fail.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's just my perspective.
Nice. How about you, Trisha?
So I do have to say, we're really blessed that we have a kid who is amazing and actually really listens to us still. I'm going to show her that.
Oh, it's going down now.
A lot of her friends already are doing more pushback than she is at her age, and really pushing the boundaries and the independence. So she's usually pretty good still of keeping things, like we can redirect her or kind of put her in check. And then she comes back around. She's like, oh, okay. But those life lessons, it's like, okay, with the phone, one of the things that we did, like first couple weeks she was using it, was like 8 hours. And I'm like, honey, that is more than you are in school. And to be fair, she had it on the background, and was doing art or things like that. Like she was multitasking, like she was just staring at it all day. But we were like, okay, so we're going to show you our phones. And it's like, okay, look, I was on it for 2 hours and 35 minutes, but that was music while walking the dog and checking emails and, doing work things on it. Same thing with him. Like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Over the course of the day.
Of the day. And her eyeballs just like popped open. And she's actually just woke up. Her eyeballs open with that, and she. But then she was like, "Okay, I figured it out. You're on camera." This is our friend.
We're getting a cameo. Hi, how are you? So if you're just listening, we got a little cameo of Lucy. So you might want to pop on YouTube. You can see her sweet little face.
So anyway, so we treat those as like life lessons, right? So leading by example, trying to redirect. Part of it is a balance now that school is back in, between homework and sports. And so there's been a couple times this week where we were like, okay, well, your homework's not done, so you can't go to soccer practice, or, because school's got to be the priority. Again, like he said, we have to give her latitude. It's life lessons. If she's going to push so hard, she's got to figure it out. And we keep telling her we're not always going to be there. Like your room, we can't always harp on you because you have to figure it out, because we're always not going to be there. And at some point you have to figure out, like, okay, is this worth living in? Or, you have a space to be able to play and have your friends over. If your room's not clean, you can't have the sleepover, because there's literally no space for your friends to sleep. So
sleep on top of all the soft toys. It's like a mattress. It's all good.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, she does that sometimes. And then the only other piece that I would add is like communication, which I think pieces were part of it. Is just she has challenges doing that, but also COVID didn't help with that, because they lost a lot those 4 years of learning how to do that with their peers. And so I feel like as parents, we've done a lot more. I'm looking for kind of just controlling the situation of like, okay, how can you communicate this better before you guys both blew up and stomped away, trying to have her communicate with adults. Like she was worried about the distractions in class, where like, you have to go and talk to your teacher. Like we can't do it for you. You're in 6th grade, like these are things that you have to start learning on your own, and kind of pushing her that direction so she does get that independence.
So you actually brought up a good point, which is interesting to me because, I homeschool my girls and I'm kind of in the homeschool world. So most kids I know, COVID really didn't make much difference because it was just like another day. You mentioned that you noticed a little bit of a difference in the kids that you see. Obviously, she has friends, you've met them, you know them, and you talk to their parents. Did that have a really big impact, you feel like, in their development? And if so, what do you think is like the lasting effect that you guys have really been having to work through? I mean, it sounds like communication, but did you see a big difference, like where it's just like, oh, she was here, and then we felt like we came way back here, and we're still on track pushing to
most
get
definitely
back to where she thinks?
Yeah. She's always been the social kid, but she talked about being lonely a lot during the period. And we did create, like, we had bubble families, like everybody kind of talked about. And so I would say the biggest thing is that communication. She can still play. She's never been great with like self-entertaining or whatever, but trying to push that social interaction. How do we resolve things? How do we communicate? It didn't definitely discourage the screen time because that's the majority of what they had, even though that she has stuff and lots of stuff like most kids have. Trying to, she had to have the screen time for school because that's how they communicated. If it was when we were in school, it'd be like, oh, too bad, so sad. We can't do this, or put us on the playground and figure it out. But I feel like the communication was like the biggest piece and just being lonely for her.
And I think the other thing that we're also learning as parents is that, and I never thought about this as a kid myself, but when they start to have friends and they're more prevalent in their life, then you run up against, well, do you like their parents? Do you agree with the parenting style of the children that are now hanging out with your kid? And can you come to terms with that? And of course, you would see kids that would respond a particular way to something that we might say to Lucy, where it wouldn't even faze Lucy to go and do, and then the other kid might have a completely different response because it's not the way they do things in their household.
Right.
And then Lucy had a friend a couple of years ago that we had her stop seeing because when Lucy was around this friend, Lucy acted out. And it's like, we don't need this kind, because we have to start understanding that, as you know, you get less and less influential with the child. Friends become more important. And so you see the influence of those friends and you go, wait a minute, you have to monitor that stuff. Because if you don't, then that can lead to other things, good and bad.
Because there were some certain instances where she knew she was not allowed to do certain things at home. But like when the friend came over, they would convince her, like, we had a glue incident outside and we couldn't find where it got dumped, or like, you're supposed to ask and then we help you set it up or whatever you're going to do. We're not opposed to you playing with glue. We just need to end it where, it's not going to be on everything,
I just like my house too. So,
so there's been overall, she's usually pretty good with it, but most of the kids also spend a lot of time here and know what is and is not allowed. But there's definitely certain instances, or like she's at other places, it's like, okay, what were you doing that for? Because you were not even allowed to do that at our house. So what were you thinking? So, but again, life lessons. You have to figure it out, how to work through that peer pressure and, without your parents going.
Yeah. So I would love to hear from you guys, two perspectives. What is the most stressful part of your day? And then on the flip side, what is usually the best part of your day? And from each of you.
Good question.
Go for it.
I like how you pass it off. Go for it. I'm being very generous.
Go for it.
It's giving me time to think. I know.
I would say this most stressful part for me, and it's nothing to do with Lucy, her activities. Yeah. Especially like swim season, and because it's, you work all day and you want to have that time, at least somewhat, to slow down a little. And I understand with the martial arts, I do it myself, and that's 3 to 4 days a week, and that's my choice. But it was like during swim season, I just became so irritated because it was, you're getting to the pool deck at 6:30 in the morning and you're not leaving till 3. And it just, and the way they structure it and all the other things, and you want to be there for your kid. You really do. But there were certain instances where, like, this is not, and for Lucy, it's a socialization thing. It's not that she's not a good swimmer or that she doesn't put her max effort into it, but this is her way to be social. And so that's the stressful part for me, is the activities, which Trisha's totally normal with. And then, right. And then I think for me, the best part, most of the time I would say it's the weekends where we don't have anything going on in the morning, because Lucy still likes to have cuddle time and very much needs that time. And so when we are all on the couch doing whatever, or we make breakfast, or like this morning, I got up and I went and got her from her favorite donut shop. She got her favorite kind of donut, and that's part of that process. It's as I like to say, that in the early years, I just bought my child's love, sugar and treats and whatnot. So those are mine.
Okay, well, I mean, at least you're being honest, and you know what what the expectations that you're setting up are. There you go. And Trisha?
For me, the stressful parts are definitely finding a balance, finding and trying to get everything done. Because I like to be busy and I don't sit a lot, I am a list maker to make sure things get done and don't get lost, for sure. Mm-hmm. And making sure that they're doing okay and I'm doing okay. And then you have the components of all the work pressures. Is she busy enough? Is she, staying up constantly enough in school? Because with me not being here, I trust that he's watching it more. Again, blessed that my parents are helping with that as well, because they're going to her school. But making sure she's getting what she needs to be successful. And is she, my brain never shuts off. So is she getting enough social time? Is she getting enough family time? Is she, is he getting enough attention? Is he, all making sure that everybody around me is doing okay as well, which then sometimes that's when he notices oftentimes it takes a toll and my brain kind of starts spinning too much. But that's why I try to make a point too of making sure that there's, time for me somewhere, whether it's my walk in the morning or, taking 2 minutes at lunchtime and stepping away from my computer so I can't get stuck down that rabbit hole, And then as far as my favorite times, I'm, again, same thing, she likes her cuddles still. A lot of her friends don't like to do that anymore. So that's just sitting and watching, a Halloween movie early, We're excited because we're going to start pulling our decorations down and organizing them, doing things that make me happy like that. Baking, because it makes everybody else happy. They're like, oh, what are you making? Or exploring new things, watching baking shows. So Lucy is we learned how to make macarons a couple weekends ago just because it sounded fun, So having that special time where we have date nights and we make it again, it goes back to making that purposeful and making time. And when we have that free time, it's okay, do we want to just get ice cream or do we want to get fancy and go to, a fancier dinner because we have all night, or, finding it's thankfully he is into a lot of the things that I'm into, or he doesn't mind watching rom-coms with me. So sometimes we just sit and we've been so busy. Sometimes we'll doodle on our phone and watch a movie in the background and just sit with our critters, while she's out. So just having, as much as I like to be busy, occasionally also having that downtime.
As much as she does a wonderful job of working to take care of herself, the other part of me being her partner is you're going to sit, you're going to not do anything, and as we call it, we pull the Mary card, and I will pull the Mary card,
or the husband card,
or the wife card, because ultimately, it's my experience that for us, we are each other's keeper to a certain degree, and so when I need to be her keeper, I need to say, you need to stop and you need to do this, whether you like it or not. She can argue with me all she likes, and I pull the husband card, and she does the same thing to me. And I think that's what keeps that balance, because I always say when you're in the middle of a problem, it's like a bubble. You're inside the bubble and all you see is the problem. You need the person on the outside to help you see what's going on around them, and then you can pop the bubble, at least temporarily.
Because we're both getting the mode of all the things have to be done at the house. The laundry has to be done. The dishes have to be done. Instead of just taking, half an hour, it's oh, if this isn't done, my spouse is going to come home and they're going to be upset because this didn't get done, versus okay, just take a few minutes and find a balance. You can still get that done, so.
Well, I like the idea that you guys have a fun way, like the husband card, the wife card, of taking away the anxiety from it and the, kind of the, hey, where I'm parenting you sometimes, because a lot of the times we get into that, don't try to be my boss, or don't tell me whatever. Right. It's just a fun way to lighten it and be like, husband card, wife card. Oh, okay. This is a cue where they're coming from love, they're coming from concern, and obviously I've got a little bit much going on. So that's a really fun one. I might steal that from you guys. I like
Absolutely.
that.
So, but we do reserve it for like extreme times, like when we pick up on those cues where you're like, okay, you're done. I'm out. Like, it's almost like a timeout card, you know, like you're done. You need to stop. Your head's going to pop, you know? So we don't use it. Definitely reserved for like those extreme times for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Not just pulling it out willy nilly for sure.
Right.
That's awesome. I love it. This has been such good stuff. And like, we're coming to a close here, but I always like to finish the Come As You Are episodes with a few, what I like to call shotgun style questions, which basically means I'm going to ask you guys some weird random question.
Love it.
And just first response, no thinking, just like, okay, here's what's coming out of my mouth. And are you up for some fun?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay. First question. If I stopped you in the middle of your phone scroll, like just numb out time, what website are you most likely on?
Ooh, Instagram.
Instagram. Okay. Chris, how about you?
I don't spend a whole lot of time scrolling or doing much on that. If you were to look at my phone, I probably have my music open, screwing around with something musically. I usually have an earbud in. So usually when you're trying to get my attention, So that's more my style.
The rule in my house is one earbud because both of them don't hear me half the time.
I like that. That is smart. Okay. If you were a superhero, what would your superhero name be?
Ooh, he's got a superhero shirt on.
There you go.
Goofy Man, just because I can get away with saying that.
Goofy Man?
Goofy Man, why not? Because I have cerebral palsy, so I can say that and get away with it.
There you go.
Oh gosh. Like, I'm trying to think of something tying, like the first thing that came to me was like people pleaser, making people happy. So like I don't know, do you have like a play on words to go with that? What is that?
Slayer.
PT Slayer.
I was about to say the pee-pee woman, but we don't want that.
No.
We'll go with pleaser woman.
Okay, cool.
That's funny. What celebrity do you think you look like the most?
Ooh, I've never thought about that. I thought you were going to say, like, who do we like the most?
Well, I mean, if you want to go there, you can go there too.
All right. Matthew McConaughey has always been one of, like, closest to my heart, but I'm not sure what I look like, to be honest. Do you have a thought?
Okay. I kind of do, but I don't know her name. But it's the glasses, I think, that kind of, like, you guys have a similar shape of face in the glasses, but I can't think of who she is. I'll have to look her up and get back to you.
And then
how about you, Chris?
Myself, I don't know. And I've honestly never thought about it, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Okay. Then who's your celebrity crush then? She gave up Matthew McConaughey.
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon. All right. They're both cuties. Okay. Would you rather be 12 inches tall or 12 feet tall?
12 inches.
12 inches.
12 inches? Really? Okay. You're not afraid of someone stepping on you? I'd probably go with 12 inches too.
No,
I've already been tall most of my life.
That you wouldn't be able to explore. They definitely have their benefits, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hide, be stealth, ninja.
Jumping off the couch takes a whole new adventure,
Right. Yeah, that would be cliff diving then, right?
That would be. You're like, dude, I do parkour in my furniture. It's awesome.
I love it.
Okay, last one. If you could know the date of when you were going to die, would you want to know or not?
We've talked about that before.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So Chris is a hard no.
I don't know. I'm a 50-50. Probably more no. Lucy perked up for that one. I don't know. I would probably do no because I try as best as I can. I mean, obviously, I would do some things differently if I did know and try to like please in certain things if I did know. But like, I feel like there would be more pressure if you did, and I try to live every day like it's my last. If I didn't have to go to work all the time or I had a bigger budget, I would certainly do more.
Sure.
But I definitely I'm in my calling and know I'm doing good things when I go to work. So I'm a 50-50 on that one.
All right, cool. And then Chris, you're just a hard no. Any reason why?
Yeah, nope. I figure I came into this world in a really rough way, being born early. So every day I wasn't supposed to have all these days. So I'll just take what I can take as often as I can. And that's more of a mindset over the last few years, because what do they say? What do they call the present a gift? It's a present. And I'm trying to live my life a lot more that way, because who knows? So.
Yep. I feel you. I'm the same. I would be a no. I wouldn't want to know. Like, nope, that's okay. I already have it in my head. I'm living to 120, but I better take care and know that something could happen in the next minute. And
well, you still, it's funny you mentioned the age there, because you still look the same that when we last saw you, and I don't know what fountain you're bathing in, but
I have great lighting on my face. I have great lighting. If we were face to face, you'd be like, oh.
No.
No.
It's not that bad, but no, I appreciate that. Thank you. No, you guys look the same as well. Like, it's just like, boom. It's like no time has passed, which is awesome. I did pay him to say that. Sorry, people. No, just kidding. I'm kidding.
The check's coming later.
I'll take it. Yeah. The check's in the mail. Just got lost. Went to the wrong address. That's all. Well, I want to thank both of you so much for your time, for being here today, for those of you listening, going through a wild round of trying to schedule this to even happen. So I just appreciate that they were just so willing and flexible, and, getting up at 7 a.m. so that we could record this for y'all, and letting us sneak behind the curtains. Because I know not everyone feels comfortable with that. Sometimes it's like, well, I don't know how I want you to know. And at the same time, like I told you before we started this, when people get to hear your day, it suddenly normalizes their day, makes them feel better. Like, okay, I'm not so far behind, or, hey, this is like that husband-wife card, dude. That was gold stuff. Like, maybe I'm going to steal that. So that's why I love these episodes so much. And you guys have just been a blast, and it's been awesome to catch back up with you. So thank you.
Our pleasure.
What?
Awesome. So with that, I am going to go ahead and call this show a wrap and say thank you for joining us. Hopefully you got a lot of fun stuff out of this. And also, if this is something that interests you, hit me up. Let me know. I'm always looking for cool mamas to share our experiences. And you can email me at hello@funrichmom.com and tell me a little bit about yourself, and maybe you will be my next guest. But in the meanwhile, thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone else so that they can hear a little bit of normal too. And go out there, make it fun, make it rich. And I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.